Hello everyone, it's Perry here in Park City. We are at the Kia Telluride Supper Suite with the folks behind Beast Feast. Yeah. Congratulations, guys.
Yes, thank you.
We have to start, I'm sure you're going to answer this question a million times today
I'm
and over the
ready.
course of the
That's what I'm
festival,
here for.
but a lot of people out there do not know what Beast Feast is, so can you give them the brief synopsis?
The brief, it's 3 interweaving stories, 3 main characters in a southern town, and it's sort of like they each have their own journey and involves young love and petty crime, and there's some gun stuff in there, and it all kind of comes together and goes apart and all that stuff. Yeah.
Job well done.
Yeah.
A lot going on there, though. What was the starting point? Was there any particular point of inspiration to build the rest of the story around?
Yeah, so a few years back, we made a short film with Shirley that Will and I wrote called Krista. And that, like, as we were finishing that, it felt like time to expand it and work more with Shirley and with Will and sort of like build a bigger world out around what that short was. So that's what.
So after the success of that short, did you find that it was maybe somewhat easy to get the feature off the ground, or what was the time where the feature became like the real deal?
We turned around. I had a rough draft of the script at South by Southwest when it premiered, and then it was received well. So the next day we launched. We stayed up all night and we made a Kickstarter video to raise pre-production funds, and we announced it, and we just went straight into it. And then Alec and Casey Bader, their producing partners, came in, and a few months later we were filming it.
Did you write half of the short?
Yeah.
I'm just learning that now for the first time.
Yeah.
I've been kissing his ass for weeks now. He wrote it, and you wrote half the short.
Half.
My sincerest
good
apologies
half.
to you, Will. The better
that's okay.
writing
That's cool.
was
Yeah,
Will.
Should I go? Do you want to sit here, Will? Maybe we could.
Can I sit close to you?
So, Will, when you wrote Beast...
So, Alec, did you want to jump in right after seeing
My
the
partner,
short?
Casey Bader, who I work with in our company, he got me a bunch of shorts, and we try to look at shorts as a way to find filmmakers we like, and do they want to expand that piece of material or do something like that piece of material, maybe change it, or do another script they have. And we thought that Danny had every complete ingredient to really make a great film. He's wonderful with the writing, the camera work, well, the writing that he did, the writing, the camera work,
Here we go.
The directing, actors, everything. He did a great job. And so we said, yes, we want to develop this into a feature. He sent us the script. Did you write part of the script, the main script?
I did not.
He didn't touch it. I didn't let him look at it until it was
Stop
done.
talking. He sent us the script, and we love the script. And we decided we wanted to help him make the movie.
So I love hearing about familiar actors like Alec getting in and helping getting a project off the ground that might not have without his touch on it. So can you tell me a little bit about working with him as an executive producer?
Right. Well, we were running straight at it. We were like, we're gonna do this if we have $5 amongst the 10 of us, and we were plunging in. That was the idea. Like, very much like the people we work with, Ben Wiesner and Jim Cummings, like we have this idea of like you plant the flag and you go and the thing will become real around it, and it was just like a real step up. I mean, Alec came in and like we really were able to do it in a way that was more than what we had foreseen. So
I love hearing that.
Yeah.
I also like hearing about brothers that work together so nicely. I love my sister to death, but one time we tried working together and it didn't go very well. So
there's a reason we're sitting this far apart from each other.
I'm not going to make eye contact with them for the rest of the...
We're contractually, we can't.
We positioned you that way.
Right.
But it does seem like you have a wonderful collaboration. So growing up, when did you guys realize that you guys want to make movies together?
Danny made me be an actor when I was 5. He forced me into it, and then we've been doing it ever since. And then I kind of went my own path, and then we're kind of back together now. But we just have like a fluency that's kind of non-verbal. You know, we just like give a look, and it's like, okay, cool, we'll try it differently. We don't really. There's not like BS around collaborating. We just kind of go.
Isn't it funny how it is like that when you're a kid, where like with everybody, with my friends who had a camera, we were kids, it was a different theme. But I can just see you guys, and you're like, but I don't want to put on the cape. And Danny's like, put it on. Put on the cape.
Classic Stockholm syndrome, and here we are.
And here we are. Yeah, it's been horrible ever since.
Is there any like sibling rivalry or bickering? I feel like I shouldn't ask you guys this for Shirley and Jose. Like, what happens when they disagree on something?
I don't think I ever saw them disagreeing.
We've never disagreed in anything.
No, I'm just kidding. That was just
we had a pretty, you know, I sort of knew what I was doing to an extent, and then we just kind of, I don't know.
Well, there's a lot
We're
of
on the same
trust,
page.
and the process that we've come up with, and this applies to these guys too, is like, is this sort of like iterative, sort of take after take. We're pushing it. We're doing various versions of the scene. We treat each take like a theater rehearsal, right? And we say, oh, that was a really great one, but like, let's try one where like you're not making eye contact so much, and like, let's see what that brings out. In the same way that you would want to just like stretch and bend a scene in a a blank room kind of theatrical space, we're doing that and we're rolling. That's the beauty of like shooting on like digital. It's like we can just keep going and going, and we get to find all these discoveries, and especially with people who had less acting experience, to really like blossom out and like trust that the best parts are going to be put together and made into what the scene becomes.
Jose, can you tell me a little bit about your background? I was reading the notes, and there was some sort of connection made through the sign spinning scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, world champion sign spinner 2017.
I didn't realize that was a thing. That's super cool.
That's the thing.
So that and stunt work?
Yeah, and stunt work and skateboarding and Academy of Villains hip hop company. So I like to dance and do crazy stuff.
But tell how we met. Like, how did we?
We met through Sean Wells, the color artist of Beast,
Yeah.
and then we just met up in Los Angeles and we just filmed some skateboarding stuff just for fun and just vibed out.
I had this
What
fantasy that Jose was skateboarding like on a loading dock.
Wait, microphone.
And goes flying and lands on the hood of Danny's car.
That's sick.
It was close.
Car stops and he's like, shit! And Jose's like staring like,
Yeah.
skateboarding here.
That's cool.
This is gonna happen.
I feel like we should make a movie about that behind the scenes story.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So are you allowed to do your own stunts in the movie? Because I know sometimes when you're the lead actor in a movie, you got to get a stunt double, but are you all clear to do it?
I did all the stunts.
All clear. All clear. Well, that was part of it. We wanted to kind of ingratiate what like Jose's like even the fact that he can just like, hey, we have to like land a kickflip in this scene on a skateboard. So, but having Jose do it, we're acting in the scene, and you can do this thing where you can go from a close up of one character and pan the camera. He does the kickflip, and we come up and we see Jose, and it's not like, actor like starts to slide out of frame, cut to legs, kickflip, cut back to actor, like, aren't I cool? It's just like, it becomes this thing that you can be fluid, and I think it like helped us to sort of like keep that naturalism in the film, is to have Jose actually doing those things.
How did you guys find you for the short? How did you guys hook up?
Oh, us two? Yeah.
Yeah.
So they were casting Krista, and they were actually shooting it in the performing arts high school that I went to. And they decided, why don't we send out an open casting call in the theater department? So I got this email, figured I wasn't doing anything better, and so I just went in for them. I met these two guys, and they were their typical goofy selves, and it was just the most comfortable, most freeing like audition experience I really have maybe ever had, and that was how we got connected through Krista, and Krista became, morphed into Beast, and Alex signed on, and it became this whole thing, yeah.
And the role was written for you, right?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Do you find, because I assume, Krista, that was not the case because you auditioned,
Yeah.
do you find it easier to slip into a role that was written for you, or maybe one that's a little different than who you are in real life?
I actually felt that in Beast, the moments that I felt like I could be the most myself just happened to be when I was working with other people who kind of brought that out of me. So I especially working with Courtney, who plays Krista's best friend in the film, in Jose, and it's like the people that Krista's closest to. I feel like that was when I could really let go and be myself, and so I think that was what contributed most to that in Beast.
Are you guys super into music? Like, I could have just watched you guys at that table scene, just like creating beats all day long.
That's what he does all the time. Yeah.
A real, sincere thank you to Sundance. What I'd like to add is a very real and sincere thank you to Sundance, because when you come here, and we're walking around, and Lin-Manuel Miranda's coming out a door, and Glenn Close is coming out a door, and Buscemi, and so forth. And you see established people here who are making films, which is great, because you want to enjoy whatever films that are here. But this is for emerging filmmakers, really. That's what it's about. And it's a great opportunity. I mean, a big thank you to Sundance for having this film in the festival, and we're very grateful to them.
I would echo that. That's part of the reason why I was so excited to jump into this, because it's so exciting to meet new filmmakers that I can't wait to see grow from here. Speaking of which, going from the short to a feature with Danny, how would you say he grew as a director?
I want to hear this one.
This is where all the dirt on Danny comes out. I would say that between Krista and Beast Beast, Danny and I got a lot closer. I think that just the process of Krista, and then, we had long car rides where we were driving to film festivals and we were just talking about life and who Krista was and what it means to grow up in a small town. And so I think that the biggest things I saw between those two were just the change in our relationships and the comfortability with actors and kind of finding new fluencies. Will was talking about how he has this great fluency with Danny, but I think that Danny does this great job of, he's very immediate connections with people and when he's working with them. And so I think from Krista to Beast Beast, it was really nice to see him work with new people and work with more people. I mean, there were so many extra scenes and I could, which we didn't really have as much of during Krista. And so I think just working on bigger things, but I think the one thing that kept Danny always grounded was, this sense of connection and excitement.
And I want to ask you, how has Danny grown as a director since you did Star Wars in your backyard in 1995?
Yeah, it was all downhill from there. That was his best work. And now he's grown a lot. I think we've kind of been kind of training and teaching each other, as I kind of trained in my field, he trained in his, and we kind of in tandem have grown. And I think specifically, I've seen you really allow the actors to bring their own artistry and interpretation to it, and really say they're going to bring something that I maybe haven't thought of yet. And that's the mark of, I think, a great director is it's not all my vision, it's this collaboration. So that's, seeing you work with the other actors was really a treat for me to see you give them space and life to breathe and play.
You blushing yet? Can you talk a little bit about just the tone and the vibe of the movie? Because one thing I thought made it super powerful is, we all know where it goes in the end, but there's almost a levity and a purity to it at the beginning that really let me kind of fall into step with all the characters and feel like I was part of their lives. So can you tell me a little bit about handling on that on set? Because I'm sure you can't shoot in sequence, which might make it challenging for your cast.
Yeah, I think for me, tone is one of the most difficult things to manage and wrap your hands around when you're making a film. It's such a vital part of directing. And with this one, it has these three different stories, and they all have these different flavors within each of those stories as well. So I'm I don't know, I feel like the way I like to eat is I'm very, I like a smoothie or a salad that you just throw a bunch of different stuff in there and you shake it all around, and then it's you get these new things, and it's so you can't have something that's, it's a drama, but you don't want it to be drab and joyless and you're checking your watch because we're mopey, but it's no, you want it to reflect life, you want to laugh, and then all of a sudden you turn the corner and something devastating happens, and then cut to one of the other characters and you're laughing, that's how life feels to me, and I wanted the film to kind of flow like that in a way.
Success in that department. It
Great.
definitely
Thank
does.
you.
Was there any particular scene in the film, without spoiling anything, that you found yourself workshopping on set more so than others?
There were definitely some of the outside of our actors' lives experiences that we really wanted to just make sure that, in the same sense of keeping you guys comfortable and having the space to explore, we wanted to just kind of rehearse those parts out to get it really just ingrained in your mind so that you could play and find your own version of that on the day. Specifics would kind of give away some of the story stuff, but yeah, but it's also fun to play with what teenage love means to me, what that was for me and how to sort of reflect those moments. And you guys did such a great job of of sort of encapsulating that. It's really incredible.
That's the hardest thing.
Microphone.
We talked about that in another interview, where that's the hardest thing to play, is that love impulse, because you can't be self-conscious. When you have that feeling for somebody, you just go. You can't help yourself. You want them to know and find that if they feel the same way you do, and the freedom that all three of them exhibit. Isn't that the hardest thing to do as an actor, is to be free? You're so self-conscious, and you're wondering how am I coming across? Am I putting across what I think is right, what he thinks is right, whatever? Am I serving the material? And all of them did a wonderful job and understand that the basis of acting is freedom, is to be free in front of the camera.
Well, congratulations on your award. Congratulations on your movie. Thank you again for being here. Another thank you to the fine folks at the Kia Telluride Supper Suite for having us here. Collider Interviews. We're having a wonderful time in Park City. Like and share this one before you go, and we'll see you soon with more of them.